Can you build strength with yoga? The short answer is yes. This is a debate that I had with my girlfriend this past week because we're both yoga teachers and she's really good at marketing. So I just told her that I wanted to brand myself as a strong yogi. And she just said, why? Because all types of yoga can actually help you build strength. And I was like, no, they can't. You know, you think about yin yoga and you're holding onto these positions and just holding that for a while. I don't think you can build strength in that way. Or even hatha yoga, it's a little bit slower. I also thought that you can't really build strength in those classes as well. But then she started to talk about different types of yoga like Ashtanga and Vinyasa. Those are definitely more challenging, so they will require a degree of strength. And I do agree that you can build strength to a certain extent of yoga in yoga, but I wouldn't necessarily utilize yoga in order to build strength. And then this debate kept on going on, and I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology. I've been personal training people for the last 13 years now, so I was kind of getting a little bit upset that we weren't able to come to terms with, all right, can yoga build strength? And I disagreed with her. I said that I can't. And we just kept on going on, and then she gave me some definitions of what strength is. And if you just look on Google, you can find this definition. It says strength is a quality or state of being physically strong, or the capacity of an object or substance to withstand great force of pressure. So just being sturdy, being tough. I think that you can do that in a lot of different forms of yoga. And my challenge is that the definition of physical strength is this. Physical strength is a measure of an individual's exertion of force on physical objects. So think about being able to bench press like a heavy weight, or being able to deadlift or squat. I think that's what physical strength is. Just because I've been training people for 13 years now, I do believe that's what strength was to me. But strength can be defined in a lot of other ways as well. And I started looking on Quora to see what people thought about this. Do they believe that you can build strength doing yoga? And a lot of people actually said yes. You can build core strength. You can build strength and stability. You can actually build a lot of really great amounts of strength doing different types of modalities of yoga. And I wanted to also just test myself. Okay, if I just do yoga movements, can I build strength? Will it make me have a stronger bench press? Will it make me have a stronger overhead press? And that's something I'm wanting to figure out. I do like to do a lot of inversions. I like to do a lot of calisthenics. But I wanted to create this training log to take you in my process of, can I actually build strength? Can I get stronger doing just yoga movements? And I did cheat a little bit because there's not a lot of pulling in yoga. There's a lot of pushing. There's a lot of legs. You can do a lot of stuff with the shoulders, a lot of core as well, but you really lack pulling movements. So I wanted to utilize something called foundation training, which is created by a doctor of chiropractic named Eric Goodman. And I utilized a lot of these movements in order to exert force on my body, in order to engage my posterior chain without holding onto a weight. One of the main things that you do is you hold your hands together like this. You create a sphere of tension. And once you start squeezing as hard as you possibly can, you're going to start to feel all these muscles start to engage. There's Sherrington's law of radiation that says that a muscle working hard recruits neighboring muscles to work together. So then if you start squeezing here, 20% of a max effort, you're going to feel the hands, the fingers, squeeze a little harder. You start to feel the forearms, then the biceps, triceps, the chest, and the back. And then what you would do is you would hold that position, you'd create that tension, and you'd hold onto that same tension as you pull back. And you basically, your body doesn't know if it's holding onto a weight or not. It just knows that it's creating force. So if you're creating enough force, you can actually feel like you're doing some pulling with a cable. So I utilize a lot of those movements with my training as well. So I hope you enjoy this training log of me trying to figure out if you can build strength with yoga. All right, y'all. First thing I'm doing, I'm going into dive bomber push-up. So it's like a downward dog. You push yourself up, and you drop your head down all the way up here. So it's dive bomber push-ups. Sometimes people call it downward dog push-ups as well. It's really tough on the shoulders. I'm trying to keep my elbows a little tighter to the body. For this one, I did 4 sets of 10. And then after that, I followed up with a foundation training movement. So I'm going for the kneeling founder position. So I'm leaning forward. I'm squeezing my hands forward in a sphere of tension. I'm pulling my hands all the way back into long wing. I'm really trying to work on my lower traps here, as well as the rear deltoid a little bit, but I'm squeezing as hard as I possibly can. I followed up with another foundation training movement after, but I'm going 4 sets of 8 reps with this one. It's actually really hard if you just squeeze as hard as you possibly can. And then now I'm going to the kneeling mofo. So I'm squeezing the hands and the elbows together, and I'm really trying to raise my hands upward, but I'm also pulling my shoulder blades back and down. So it's going to be a great one for you to strengthen your lower traps as well. For these foundation training movements, you really have to push it. 4 sets of 8. Next, I'm going for the woodpecker. So I'm going to reach my hands forward. I'm putting 80% of my weight onto that front leg, 20% onto the back leg. I'm really focused on hinging here. So it's a very big hip motion. I'm doing 5 of these hinges, and I'm going to go 10 rotations where I'm going to reach my hands forward, and I'm going to bring my back hip towards that front knee. If you're doing this right, you should feel a stretch in the hamstring and the glute, and then when you twist, you're really going to start to feel that burn. After 10 rotations, I'm going for 10 heel drops because the heel is slightly elevated the whole time. So that's the whole woodpecker series that I go through. And then I'm going straight into a single leg squat. So this is more of a superset, or in bodybuilding they would call this a pre-exhaust, where you really focus on one muscle, so the glutes, then you go to something more compound, so you start to feel the glutes challenge a little bit more. So just going for 5 to 6 of that single leg squat for now. 4 sets. And then switch to the other side when you're ready. And then I go to a side plank crunch. So I'm going to lift the top leg upwards as I reach all the way in front of me, and I'm bringing the elbow to the knee. So I'm going to strengthen both obliques, both sides of the obliques, as well as a little bit in the hips. I'm going for about 12 reps there. Then switching to the other side. Still going for 4 sets as well. Really good way to strengthen the obliques in the side body. Next up, we're going for a Y to T raise followed by a W. So Y to T raise followed by a W. What this is going to do, it's going to help you really start to engage the rear deltoids as well as the lower traps. It is harder that we don't really have weights to train those muscles, but you still want to keep the same principle as foundation training, just making sure you're squeezing those muscles as hard as you can to create that force yourself. Next, I'm going for a plank position. I'm going into a tricep extension. So it's a really tough bodyweight movement where you start in that plank and you lift yourself up with just the strength of your triceps. I don't know if ancient yogis practice this one, but it's definitely a tough exercise. One of the things I do want to track is how good I am at doing a handstand. So you can tell here, I'm throwing myself off balance a little bit, but hopefully in these next 30 days in September, I'll be able to have a stronger handstand, be able to hold that more comfortably. I'm super excited to have you join me on this journey, and make sure that you check out the yoga strength videos if you do want to train for strength with yoga. Thanks, fam.